Hello Superstar Squad! Today Madame Gazelle is going to tell us the Fox and the Crane story. Let's dive right in.
The story began in a very peaceful forest. There was a very naughty and gluttonous little fox, and he loved to think of so many tricks to make fun of other friends in the forest. Animals in the forest were so annoyed. Every time they heard the little fox's voice, they would find a way to hide. Little Fox was so lonely then, because there was no one agreed to hang out with him. One day on a small lake, the fox saw a crane looking for food in the lake. He immediately came and talked to her. The crane happily spoke to the fox because she had never met him before. And since then, the fox had made another poor friend just to joke around. He had always been mischievous even though everyone had avoided him. As he was talking to the crane, he had thought of a way to trick her. The fox invited the crane to his house to have a meal as a welcome party for new friends. With a gentle and friendly nature, the crane happily accepted the invitation. So both of them went back to the fox's house. When they arrived, the crane was surprised. It turned out that the fox's house was a small cave below the ground. Since he was insisted, the crane managed to enter. Cranes are taller than foxes, but the entrance to the fox's house was so small and narrow. It was very hard for the crane to get inside. The feathers of the crane are also messed up because of it. When the fox came out of the kitchen, he carried 2 flat dishes with soup. He served and sat down to enjoy the soup. The crane could not enjoy the soup because of her long beak. This meal irritated her, but it greatly amused the fox. A dinner seems forever for the crane. It was very dark. Bright stars mixed on the night sky, and the party was over. The fox saw his new friend off with a satisfied face for what he just did, and the poor crane flew home with a hungry stomach. The fox gloated with his intelligence. He went back to his house and finished the crane's meal. The next day, the crane invited the fox to hang out at her house and even mentioned a lot of delicious food. Realized that the crane was friendly and gentle, so he didn't hesitate at all, and immediately accepted. And the crane flew and showed the way to her home. The fox ran on the ground after her. When they arrived, the fox panicked because the crane's house was on a high tree. He knew his new friend was using his trick to make fun of him, but he had accepted the invitation, so he managed to climb on the tree. It was tough to reach the crane's nest. After he had reached the crane's nest, he gasped for a long while since he was too tired. The crane happily spread her wings and warmly welcomed the fox, who had managed to climb up there to reach her house. The crane then led her new friend to the dining room. The table was too tall for him. Then the crane came out with 2 jugs full of soup. The jugs had a long narrow neck. The fox couldn't get his snout in the jug, nor use his tongue to reach the bottom. He sat on the ground, sadly and ashamed, because this time the jug was on him. But then a plate full of fruit was pushed to his side. The fox was surprised and speechless. Actually, the crane just wanted to let the fox know that he should not make fun of anybody. The fox realized his mistake. He apologized to his friend and promised not to do anything like that ever again. After that, they both enjoyed a meal and became good friends since then. Moral of the story: don't find joy by making fun of anyone. We have to respect each other. The way you behave in life will affect the treatment you will receive from others.